Hi, welcome back. And if it's your first time joining, welcome. We've been looking at the book of Samuel, First Samuel, and we looked at chapter 1. So we want to look some more at Samuel to see what happened with Samuel. So remember Samuel's mother, Hannah, she was barren, and Penina would be troubling her, right? And she felt so badly about it. So she was there praying to Jehovah, asking Jehovah to bear her a child, a son, in fact. And she would give back that son to Jehovah. And so they went home. She and her husband, Elkanah, went home. Elkanah made love to her, and she produced this beautiful baby boy, and she named him Samuel. Now, just as she had promised, she took him right back to Eli the prophet as soon as he was weaned and handed him over and said, you know what, I prayed for this child and I told Jehovah God that I would give him to Jehovah, give him back to Jehovah as soon as he could be on his own. So here I am with this child, and she prayed and prayed. And guess what? She ended up having more sons than even a daughter. Yes, Jehovah was faithful to her. So Samuel was there growing up with Eli until it was time for Jehovah to call upon Samuel. So Samuel was there sleeping, and the spirit of Jehovah God came upon him, and he heard a voice calling. So he thought it was Eli who was calling him. So he went and said, here I am, how can I be of assistance to you? And Eli said, but I didn't call you. And he came a second time. And then Eli realized what was happening. So Eli said, the next time you hear that voice, say, speak, Lord, your servant listens. And that's exactly what Samuel did. And from then on, he started to do the work of Jehovah God. Jehovah would speak to him and so on. And he ended up living a righteous life. Now, Eli's sons, they were the priests. Eli was the prophet. His sons were the priests. And they started to do some really bad things. Now, Jehovah took pride in the sacrifice that the people gave to him. But the priests, they couldn't wait for the fat to be burned and all of that. And so they went and they would take out the food. In fact, they wanted the meat raw, which was an abomination, really. And Jehovah was not pleased about that. And so, he told Eli that your sons are doing these things. Eli didn't do much about it. And so, as a result, Jehovah God didn't choose anyone from Eli's bloodline to become a prophet. In fact, Samuel became the next prophet. Now, Samuel, he also grew up and was doing God's work, and his sons also turned against God. Can you imagine that? Samuel's sons turned against God. And the people of Israel, they no longer wanted a prophet. They started to get jealous of the other people around them, and they were like, these people have their kings. We want to have kings as well. We want a king. Jehovah God was really vexed to hear that. I've been faithful to these people, and here they are wanting a king. And so he instructed Samuel to, give them the king. I'm going to choose this person who will be king. And so Samuel was out there, and the Spirit of God came to him and said, I'm going to be sending somebody to you tomorrow. He's going to be coming looking for a donkey, but this is the person who you will choose to be king. And so here came Saul, son of Kish. Saul didn't think anything exceptional of himself, except he was very handsome and very tall, and I guess that's what the people wanted, And so he was out with his servant, and they ended up losing their donkey. So they were all over looking for the donkey. And somebody told them that there's this man called Samuel. Samuel can really help you to find that donkey because he's a seer. They call him a seer back in those times. Yes, he's a seer. So he'll tell you where the donkey is. And so he went in search of Samuel. From the moment he came up, Samuel knew that, this was the person who Jehovah God wanted to be king. And so Samuel invited him in and gave him food and so on, and told him that, he was going to be this special person in Israel. He didn't believe in himself. He was like, what could be so special about me? So Samuel fed them and took care of them. And when they were going back, that's when he told him, he said, send the servant along and I will explain to you what's happening. And that's when he explained to him that, Saul, you are going to be the first king of Israel. But Saul must not tell anybody, and so on. And Saul just went on back home, not saying anything to anybody until the time was right. So I'll tell you some more about Saul and his kingdom. Yes, because he was the first king of Israel. Yes, but that's all for today. And I want you to keep reading Samuel. And let me tell you something. The book of Samuel is a very great read. And if you don't have the time to read it, what I do most of the time is I play it in my vehicle. So I get the version where it can actually read to you. The Bible is read to you, and I really enjoy it. There are some wonderful stories in there. So a little bit from now, I'm going to be telling you the story of Saul. Saul becoming king, and then, God ended up turning away from Saul because Saul was not doing right, and then it was David who became king. But we might think that David became king like right after fighting and winning the battle with Goliath. But that wasn't so. All of these things happened like years would have passed by. But when we are hearing these stories, especially as kids, we tend to believe that they happen like the next day or so on, But as it is said, God's timing is different from our timing. So it's very interesting. Start reading First Samuel and just let it play and just enjoy God's word. All right? Yes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.